Hey guys, Seven here, and welcome back to more Heroes of the Storm gameplay. Today I'm going to be showcasing the newest character to Heroes of the Storm, and that is the Medic, which fits perfectly into my whole series covering support characters, because that's exactly what she is, a support character. So let's go ahead and start the video here. Now I am going to be showing you a replay. There's a couple of reasons why. The biggest reason, however, is that the Medic relies heavily upon team comps and your team kind of knowing what they're doing. She can only heal one target at a time, and she's extremely squishy with very little to no escapability. So I felt it was more beneficial just to show you a video that I've already done that I know went pretty well, versus trying 5 or 6 times or more in quick match to get a group that has a good team comp. Because I have really bad luck with team comp in quick match. I almost never get a good composition in team quick match. But so that's the main reason why I want to do a replay with her. With that said, I will do a live gameplay video of her too. It'll probably just be well, it'll probably be a little bit sooner. It'll probably be before I finish up my support showcase series. But anyways, let's hop into the match. Let's take a look at team comps. Friendly team, we have the Medic, Raynor, Karazim, Johanna, and Thrall. Enemy team, we have another Medic, Sonya, Raynor, Nazebo, and Nova. So let's open up by talking about the Medic's abilities, which I apologize, she doesn't have any action bars. I tried to pull them up. I'm not very familiar with replay mode, so I don't know if there's a way to pull them up, but I couldn't find it. So her Q ability is that kind of beam you see me shining on Thrall there. That is her heal. It is a heal over time channeled ability. It does take quite a bit of mana. If you continually heal a target, you'll see me go out of mana several times in this video, I'm pretty sure. She just isn't very mana efficient early game. At level 20 you get an ability that really ups her mana efficiency a lot, but up till then you're kind of, it's rough. Her W ability is Safeguard. A little bit of a team fight breaking out here. Let's talk about that really quick. Sonya begins to spin to win. I'm going to switch my heals over to Thrall and then back over to Raynor. Something I should mention is this is a little bit more the Barbarian re-engaged there. I thought there was going to be more action, but there wasn't really. Raynor caught in that zombie wall. I'm just going to stand back. I do have low life, so I'm going to stay back, try to let my passive start healing me, and heal up players that are close to me. I'm not going to overextend and try to heal up Thrall, who's way out of position over there. I'm just going to stay in the back and try to keep myself alive, because that is what is most important. Raynor gets blown up there despite the fact I was trying to heal him. Just too much damage focused in on him. So we're going to back out Sippy Cup and kind of wait around for some reinforcements as the enemy team begins to chip away at the skeletons. It is worth mentioning in this patch they increased the number of skeletons you have to kill at the shrine all the way up to 40 now. And I feel like that was a good increase. It definitely made the fights last longer. It wasn't so one-sided, so if one team won one team fight, they didn't win the Punisher, so I like that increase. We're going to re-engage here. I'm just going to throw out heals on the melee characters, primarily Thrall and Johanna, try to keep them up as they go in and do their thing. I'm a little bit out of position there. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just sitting there taking a little bit of unnecessary damage, but then we're going to walk back up here and try to assist the team in killing these skeletons. Thrall over here trying to zone out the enemy team. He is going to take quite a bit of damage. I am very low in mana. You can see my mana is about 100% out. You're going to see my heal keeps going away here simply because I'm out of mana. I can cast it every so often just to get 1 or 2 ticks of heals on a character, but then I'm out of mana. So and you can see that's the mana problem, the mana problems I run into with the Medic. Looks like Raynor getting caught in the zombie wall again. I did go back to try to Sippy Cup, but it was still on cooldown, so I came back up, decided to try to help the team kill these skeletons at the very least. I can't do much more other than that. Enemy team re-engaging there. Sonya taking a ton of damage, though. She's going to get taken down. Our friendly monk gets taken down as well. Again, I have no mana to try to save him, so we're just going to stand back. We're getting very low, but we do end up taking the Punisher, which is very good. Our entire team almost dead there. I just had no mana to be able to come back and even try to pretend to save these guys. Raynor goes down, I think, for the 3rd time already. Raynor having a little bit of a rough start. 2 times, so not as bad as I was thinking. I am going to go back to refill my mana, so let's go back to talking about her talents. Her Q is the healing ability I told you about. It is channel, takes quite a bit of mana if you heal long enough. Her W is safeguard. It is, you'll see kind of like 3 shields spin around a target, and whenever I cast it, it's going to reduce incoming damage they take by 25%. It's a significant amount of mitigation. The medic really is more of a sustained healer. She does a ton of healing to single targets, but it is over time. So if there's a ton of damage that comes out all at once, there's not much you can do to really offset that. But Safeguard helps a lot with that. And we're going to pick up a talent later on that makes Safeguard even better and helps even more with burst damage. And then her E ability is her only method of survivability or escapability, and that is her displacement grenade. I'm not entirely sure what it is called, so I'm just going to call it her grenade. It is a straight line skill shot. It is slow traveling. It doesn't have a very fast travel speed, and it has a little bit of a knockback. Now, it has saved my life a few times, but I am not a huge fan of it. I don't get way out of position and expect it to save my life. I do just stay back. You can see even here, I'm staying as far back as I can away from the action. Because I don't trust the grenade to keep me alive. I need to keep myself alive by trying to position better. With that said, this is one of my first games as the medic on launch day. I played it yesterday. I'm going to make some mistakes. My medic game has improved a bit since playing this. That's why I do want to do another video, a live gameplay video, rather than a recording or a replay. Because I want to show you kind of the improvements I've made and any alterations to the build, or there's really not too many alterations I've made, honestly. I just want to show you kind of the improvements I've made and show you live gameplay. I like live gameplay better than replays, but in this case I do use my displacement grenade there to steal a bunch of the skeletons that the barbarian was attacking there. We're going to engage pretty hard here. Thrall coming in, I'm going to heal him up so that way he can do a lot of damage. But he's not really doing anything. He's kind of running around up top there. Sonya does go in on him, but Johanna interrupts the spin to win. I'm taking a little bit of damage, so I'm going to try to position myself behind all the friendlies. I keep unnecessarily healing Thrall because I expect him to go in and take a lot of damage. I switch up to Johanna because she was taking some damage. Kind of ignoring Raynor. Raynor needs some love right now, but I'm ignoring him. Just because Raynor can stay in the back, whereas Johanna and Thrall are up in the front. So in my mind, I was prioritizing them, even though they had higher life at this point. But then I do heal up Raynor. We're going to continue to push back the enemy team. Lieutenant Morales does go down. That is the medic's actual name, just so you know. And then Raynor just kind of pokes and prods. Nova kind of pokes and prods. I am out of mana again, so there's not too much I can do. But we are going to get this Punisher, and then I am going to be able to go back and get some mana. So we've talked about her basic abilities. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, she does pair best with good team comps. She needs maybe either one really good tank that knows what they're doing, or potentially 2 tanks to keep her safe. But one of my favorite comps with the medic right now is double support. You basically have you to keep other players alive, and then you have another support to help keep you alive. Preferably a support with AoE heals, as the medic does not have any. The enemy team kind of engaging a little bit, but staying at a safe distance, at least until this Punisher goes down. Not sure if a team fight will break out here or not. Sonya going a little bit deep, gets rooted by Thrall there. But she's in no immediate danger until the monk jumps in on her, but you can see she's not taking a lot of damage. Sonya pretty tanky now. The monk taking a ton of damage. I am trying to heal him. He does use the 7-sided strike to kind of survive there and get a little bit of damage out. Thrall getting hit by the towers, taking some unnecessary damage, but we're just going to disengage here. I'm going to switch targets, try to heal him up. It is worth noting that her Q does not have a cast time, so you can switch instantaneously throughout combat, as you may have noticed. The enemy team taking over this camp here. Raynor has spotted them, so we're going to move in to try to steal this camp. We're going to attack the enemy Raynor there. He does get blown up. We do have, it looks like, an enemy Hyperion coming out. We almost, we do take out the enemy Sonya, but at the cost of the friendly monk. I did try to get over there to help heal the monk, but I was kind of body blocked, and honestly I responded a little bit too slow to try to get over there anyways. I should have been a tad bit faster. So we did hit level 10. Let's talk about the ult I went with, which is Stim Drone. And now the medic does have two. Whoa, why did the camera go way over there? The medic does have, just like every other class in the game, I guess, does have two ults. Now everyone was making a big deal about her MedVac, saying how overpowered and crazy that ability was going to be. And in certain circumstances, I do agree. It's crazy powerful. It's crazy good. It adds so much strategy to the game if you're on a team that is coordinated, where you are constantly communicating. But if you're not, if you're in quick match and you have a lot of basic attack damage on your team, like we do, we have Rainer and Thrall, as well as the Monk even. Stim Drone is very, very good. Stim Drone is phenomenal on the Butcher. I mean, it is crazy watching him go when he the worst thing I can imagine. The worst thing I can imagine is the Butcher with the Stim Drone. Like, I'm gonna have nightmares about that. I'm almost positive. Thrall taking quite a bit of damage. There's the Stim Drone right there. You can see he's glowing blue. I did throw the shield on him as well. That way he can feel some confidence to go in and engage. But he didn't really make good use of the Stim Drone. But with that said, the enemy team was doing a good job of holding up in a choke point. Thrall could have been focused down. We are standing in two ults here. We have the enemy Hyperion and the Vengeful Spirit coming out from the enemy Nazebo. We somehow managed to survive that, and we're going to continue to chip away at all these skeletons. We've got 3 more to go. We're all very low. We're going to poke and prod, and we do end up getting that. And I am out of mana again. You're starting to see kind of a pattern. After every team fight, I am out of mana. And usually towards the end of team fights, I'm already running out of mana. So mana definitely a concern with Lieutenant Morales, rather. So just be aware of that if you're playing her. You don't necessarily have to heal characters up to 100%. You can stop and kind of conserve some mana. I am going to communicate with the team that, hey, watch out for the Stim Drone, so if I drop it on you in a shield, go ahead and feel free to engage. I'm going to keep you alive. I'm going to take care of you. It's my job. Now the other ult I kind of touch base on is the MedVac. And as I mentioned, if you're on a coordinated team that can communicate effectively, it can be very, very powerful. You can use it to go to capture points, such as the shrines. You can use it to cap mercenaries. You can use it to rush the enemy's core. It adds so much strategy to the game. But if you're not on a coordinated team, which is probably 90% of the time in quick match, it's probably not the best ult to take. But if you don't have any basic attack heroes on your team, you might want to think about taking it anyway. Though one can argue that you could potentially use Stim Drone to help a friendly player escape. The enemy team looking like they want to engage here, but they are going to back out a little bit. We have a huge push. We've got 2 mercenaries plus the creep with us, and we're just going to push right into their gates here. The enemy Barbarian uses her ult, then we got the enemy Hyperion coming out. Thrall taking a ton of damage. I am going to shield him up. Then we have the ult coming out from Nova. I do block one of the bullets, but then I just don't want to try to take another because already my life is pretty low. And again, I am very squishy. I'm kind of ignoring the Monk a little bit here. I probably should be healing him up. Again, some minor mistakes in my gameplay here that I have improved upon, but definitely that's Sergeant Morales has probably a higher skill cap than other healers, just because you have to consciously switch targets. You have to know when you want to heal a target and be aware of everyone's health and be aware that you have to switch over to them. You don't want to switch over to them when it's too late or when they're already been focused, because your heal might not be able to sustain them through the damage you're taking if you let them get too low. So Lieutenant Morales, sorry, I'm so used to Sergeant Hammer, I'm probably going to be calling her Sergeant the entire time. But the medic does take some practice and some getting used to. This is an example. These 2 wanted to cap this. Meanwhile, this was already active up here, so we thought it best to head up here. If I had MedVac, we could have all taken that and then flown up here. Now, the enemy team's setting up for a gank here. We're kind of cautious. We're not just going to walk in. We do know some of them are up here. And then the Monk and Thrall just kind of engage here, and they go really, really deep. We have a zombie wall right here, and instead of going this way, pathing kind of took me around here as I was trying to click up here to get up to them. pathing took me this way. So unfortunately I was unable to get to my friendly players to heal them up, and we just kind of snowballed from there. Thrall took a ton of damage, went down. Then Raynor soon after. Another enemy, couple enemy ults here coming out. I should have been healing up Johanna there, and instead I was healing up the monk. And Johanna just obliterated by 2 ults there. So there wasn't too much we could do there. We just had to kind of back out. It could have been better healing on my part, but it could have also been a better engagement on the friendly team's part as well. And let's give credit where credit is due. It's a pretty decent zombie wall by the Nazebo to try to keep me out, so that they can focus down the 2 DPS that kind of ran all the way up top away from my range. So in terms of, well, let's take a minute. It's about mid-game or so. Let's take a look at our stats. We are 9-0, which you may have noticed the enemy team isn't focusing me very much, which if you're going against a medic, you definitely want to focus the medic, take that medic down. But to have no deaths, whether or not you're actually being focused, I think on the medic is still pretty good, because it speaks volumes to your, I guess, positioning, staying away from the danger. Because, I mean, if you're the medic and you're standing way out here, you're going to get focused down whether or not they're focusing you consciously or not. If they can catch you out of position, they're going to take you down. So I have been doing a decent job of staying around my teammates and not getting out of position. There have been a couple times where my positioning could be better, but overall I would say I'm not doing too bad of a job. And we do obliterate this this Punisher, though our friendly team taking quite a bit of damage. Another ult coming out from Nazebo. He's doing a ton of damage with those spirits. But the Punisher was only able to really take down 1 tower. Didn't really do a lot of damage, and we managed to save this fort. So that was a really good defense on our team's part. And we only lost 1 player, as well as the enemy team losing 1 player. So pretty even exchange, and we didn't. That Punisher didn't do a lot of damage. So not too shabby on our team's part. And then so let's take a look at the talents. 10 or stats. 10-0 for myself on the medic. Not much hero damage or siege damage. You're never going to see the medic, at least from my experience, you're never going to see the medic really shine in either of those numbers. We'll come down here and try to clean this mess up here. I do have 64,000 healing to the monk's 38,000. The monk kind of went with a hybrid DPS/heal build. And the enemy medic has 49,000 healing, so I almost have a 20,000 healing, 20,000 hit point lead, I guess, in healing over everyone else. Pretty impressive, I do, if I do say so myself. And then talents. In terms of talents, I will talk about those towards the end of the match. As we're pushing on the core, I'll go ahead. We do catch the barbarian there and almost pick her off, but she does wisely use her Spear of the Ancients to get away there. I'll kind of pause the game when we're pushing on the enemy core before we win and talk about the talents a little bit. And then after this game is over, I'll actually go in and talk about Morales' talents a little bit more in depth for a few minutes and talk about kind of where things could change, other talents that might be worth picking up, things of that nature. We are a man down here for this shrine. It looks like the monk and Johanna catching Nazebo out of place there, but was unable to secure the kill. I'm going to come up here and try to provide some support. This would have been a good opportunity to drop Stim Drone, but I sometimes am not fast enough to drop the Stim Drone. I don't even think about it. It's almost a second thought sometimes. Thrall kind of going the long way around, taking a lot of damage from that Hyperion. But we are able to get back with Thrall and heal him up. The monk trying to zone out the enemy team and pays for it. Meanwhile, there's only 3 of us remaining. Here comes Raynor. I do get the Stim Drone on Thrall, who's going to come in. Look at how close Nazebo is to dying, and then Thrall starts to disengage instead of finishing him off. And then he gets obliterated by the enemy team. We're going to fall back. We only have 3 people now. Raynor is our only DPS. So I'm going to begin focusing my heals on Raynor, try to keep him up. We do take down the enemy medic. That was a good focus there on Raynor's part, but he is going to get blown up, and we are going to be forced out. I do suffer my first death of the game there. And Johanna using the gate to shield herself, else she would have been dead as well. So good gameplay there on Johanna's part. And look at our numbers. We only need 5 more skulls, or 5 more kills rather. Johanna going to try to get in here and steal those 5 kills. don't believe she is successful in doing that. She uses her shield to stun everyone. She goes in, she uses her condemn. One skeleton away from sealing that. So close. So very close. But the enemy team does secure that Punisher. It's always depressing to see just one skeleton. Like, if we would have just focused down one more skeleton, we would have had that Punisher. And that would have been a huge momentum swing. But they do end up getting the Punisher instead. And we do revive. We're just going to head down here and help defend against this Punisher. Oh, excuse me. Meanwhile, Thrall, sorry I was yawning there. Thrall and the monk do take down his Evo there. We're just going to sit up here and kind of poke and prod at this Punisher, try to prevent him from doing any more damage. He did take down. What? He didn't. He completely bypassed this fort. That's interesting. I didn't even notice. Meanwhile, our team is just back there kind of picking off. We did get Thrall picked off. The enemy team does have 2 members down, however. Let's come over here and see what's going on. They're taking over a merc camp. The monk taking quite a bit of damage there. But he's going to try to force Nova back, and then the enemy team does finally get that fort. And we're going to come down here and kind of push them back. Alright, yeah, they're just, it looks like they're going to completely disengage. It's not, Nova here, though, out of position. I'm not sure if we can catch her, though. Yeah, it looks like she is going to get away. Alright, let's take a look at our stats here. 86,000 healing at the 20-minute mark. Not bad. I have had better games. I had one game, the monk getting kind of ganked there by the enemy Nova, but not enough damage to take him down. I did have a game, I thought it was actually the game I saved, but apparently not. I had a game where I had about 300,000 healing. I had like 280,000 heals at the end of the game. It was insane. I thought that's what this game was, but I don't think it is. Apparently I did not save that replay, but that's okay. That's alright. So at this point, it looks like the enemy team kind of setting up potentially for a gank. But the entirety of the friendly team comes up here and does kind of push them back. So kind of a tentative, kind of awkward moment in this match where all we're doing is really getting mercenary camps, not too much going on. Now the enemy team is going to come over here and engage pretty hard. Thrall kind of getting focused down a lot there. Johanna's level 20 does proc there to keep her alive. But everyone's standing in 2 ults. We were standing in the spirit, the Vengeful Spirit. We were standing in the Hyperion. And the enemy team just does a phenomenal job of blowing us up. The friendly team's wondering how that went so bad. Well, it's kind of obvious. We were standing in 2 ults. I mean, that's what's going to happen when you're just standing there taking a ton of damage. You're going to die. It's important. Kind of what we should have done. I mean, we were in this chokehold. We could have kind of disengaged down this direction or up this direction, but since the Hyperion was kind of traveling that way, we could have disengaged down here and then just simply re-engaged. We could have just given them that bruiser camp and then walked right back up and taken them down when they had blown all of their ults, and then we could have used our ults unless the team already used them. I didn't really pay attention. I do think we had a couple of ults there, so but we could have disengaged and then re-engaged instead of trying to battle right there in this choke point. I did try to use my displacement grenade to try to steal some skeletons, not that it would matter at all. But they're just going to get another Punisher. We're going to fall back here and defend against that Punisher. So where does Sergeant Morales fit in terms of support characters right now? I would say that Sergeant Morales, there I go again, Lieutenant Morales. Lieutenant Morales is a game changer. She changes the game in so many ways. She's a higher skill cap support. You need to constantly be moving around and selecting targets, so it's not an auto heal kind of heal bot like so many of the other supports in the game. The enemy team is going to engage here. We got 7-side strike coming out from the friendly monk. We're just going to keep trying to heal up our melee units. Raynor getting caught out of position there, taking a ton of damage. He never almost escaped, but the Vengeful Spirit a little bit too much. Johanna's level 20 proccing again, but thanks to that level 20 we are able to heal up Johanna and keep her alive. we're going to switch back and forth a little bit between Johanna and Thrall, try to get them both back up to 100% life. All things considered, the enemy team didn't do too much damage there. They are kind of dancing around with the thought of re-engaging. The monk taking a ton of damage there, but you can see we used our safeguard on him, and that did end up saving his life. We did pick up a talent in this game that makes that safeguard so much better, and if it wasn't for that improvement, he probably would have died there. So we are pushing the enemy team back, but Nova caught way out of position here. She is going to be taken down pretty easily. If you're a Nova, probably not good to reveal yourself when you are surrounded by 4 enemy players. Probably not a good idea at all. So at this point, it's just about cleaning up again and potentially murking a little bit, but more so about cleaning things up. We had a push up there, we've got a push going right here. So it's about cleaning things up, trying to protect our fortifications as much as possible. So back to the medic and kind of where the medic fits in right now. She's a higher skill cap healer, which I think the game really needed. In addition, her ults add a lot of, I guess, versatility and strategy to the game. Her MedVac can be used in numerous ways, whether it's rushing, whether it's capping, whether it's getting merc camps, things of that nature. It really adds just so much utility, so much strategy to the game. And her Stim Drone makes auto attack characters top tier. I mean, Stim Drone, I believe it adds like 75% attack speed for 10 seconds. It is insane. And to watch the Butcher wail on enemy units or on the enemy core, it's just amazing to see. It is just, it's scary. Even if it's your medic, I mean your Butcher, and you Stim Drone them, I mean, it scares me to death. If I was one of the characters in this game and I saw a stimmed Butcher heading my way, I wouldn't know what to do. I would probably start crying and wet myself or something. I don't know. Enemy team engaging pretty hard here. We are standing in 2 ults yet again. Raynor does fall pretty early. I do stim Thrall there, but he had to teleport out because he was taking so much damage. We do take down 2 members of the enemy team, however, and we're just going to kind of fall back, try to kind of stop the bleeding, heal our guys up a little bit. You can see my mana doing a much better job. I will explain why towards the end of the game. I will show you the talent that makes her much more mana efficient in the late game. Really, when it comes to the medic, I think if you can get to level 20, the game is going to shift heavily in your team's favor unless your medic is just being focused down like crazy. But even so, the medic gains these shields at level 20. They're actually pretty substantial. You can see there they are right there. It is a pretty good amount of shielding, and that's not even the maximum amount of shields you get. I think it's a little bit bigger than that. We were just taking some damage. Yeah, you can see that's almost like 20%, 20-25% of your life is now a shield. So it's just free life pretty much. The monk uses his 7-sided strike to try to secure a kill on Nova, but she did go invisible as he was casting that, so it was kind of a wasted ult there. But we get the Punisher, so kind of, I guess, is worth it. I guess. So with that said, with the medic just kind of changes the game. She is a game changer. She adds so much strategy. Now I don't think that she is a viable solo healer. Right here, I could have improved there by body blocking Nova and then potentially using my grenade to displace her, kind of knock her back into the enemy monk. But it doesn't, or friendly monk, sorry. But it doesn't matter too much because we were able to secure a kill anyways. The enemy Punisher pushing right into the enemy's fort here. The enemy team kind of a little bit tentative, kind of running away rather than engaging. I do stim Thrall, but then he teleports back again. I don't think Thrall made much use of my stim drones. Maybe I should have been stimming Raynor a little bit more. Anyways, I don't feel like we are going to have to disengage here. We are taking quite a bit of damage, and there's the Nazebo ult there. Rather than standing in it this time, our team does disengage. And we're just going to go back to capping merc camps, it looks like. So I think with enough practice, you can be an adequate healer. Even if you're the only healer, you can still do a good job. But I don't think against certain comps that would be enough. I think that if you're going against like a Kael'thas and a Jaina, for example, there's just so much AoE damage. I don't know that even if you're the best medic in the world, I don't know if that's really enough healing. If you can carry the team going against so much AoE damage. And AoE bursty damage at that. It's just so much damage. Thrall heading up here, he's going to catch the enemy team, and he's going to just walk right in like he owns the place, and he's going to stun them, and he's going to kill them both. Great job there by the friendly Thrall. Probably the best play of the game from him. Well, easily the best play. That was really impressive. I probably would have died there if I was Thrall. I'm not a very good Thrall player. So, very good job. We are going to move in for a core push here. And that is, I'm pretty sure that is going to be the end of the game. Before we go in and push, I'm going to pause the game. And we're going to talk about my talents. Let me finish up my thought on Lieutenant Morales really quick. She's a phenomenal single target healer, but I'm not sure that she is quite good enough to be the solo healer of a team, unless there's not a lot of AoE damage. If there's a lot of single target damage on the enemy team, you might be able to swing it, but if there's a lot of AoE damage, I definitely think you need a secondary healer. You see, we had Karazim, and he went with a hybrid, you know, kind of half DPS, half heals. I mean, Way of 100 Fists is still DPS, so it's mostly a DPS build, but he was able to give us a little bit of support. Look at that, 72,000 heals from the friendly monk. So I think having that extra heal, it just really helps Lieutenant Morales, especially since Karazim is an AoE healer. So I think Lieutenant Morales does best when you've got a secondary healer on the team, primarily a secondary AoE healer. But if it's a healer that can just keep Morales up, I mean, that could be decent as well. So yeah, I would say she's probably the best single target healer in the game right now, in my opinion. But she works best with another healer on the team. We'll kind of leave it at that. So at level 1, I went with Trauma Trigger. You gain an untalented safeguard automatically if you take damage while below 50% health. This effect has a 20-second cooldown. So I mentioned earlier, Lieutenant Morales, very squishy. If you get caught out of position, you're going to be obliterated. Trauma Trigger gives you a automatic 25% reduced damage if you fall below 50% life. And that is a huge, that saved my life several times. I mean, I won't say that it's the best level 1 talent. I like it. I pick it up just about every single time because it's going to give me a little bit of support, I guess, for myself. If I get caught out of position or something, it can help me to escape. There have been a couple times where I would have died just right at my gate if it wasn't for that. It kept me alive. It reduced the damage enough for me to get on the other side of my gate. So I really do like that ability. Level 4, Advanced Block. Periodically reduces the damage received from hero basic attacks by 50%. Stores up to 3 charges, which is more than, I think the normal block is only 2 charges. So that's really good, especially if there's an enemy Butcher, Rainer, Vala, you know, characters of that nature that have a lot of auto attack damage. Very, very good ability to pick up. Even if the enemy team doesn't have much basic attack damage, I still typically pick this up because auto attack damage is auto attack damage, and even if they don't do a lot, you're still reducing that much damage. So I typically pick that up at level 4. There's not too many times that I've picked up other talents. At level 7, Irradiate. I don't know if I said that wrong, but that's how I'm going to pronounce that. Or yeah, that's how I'm going to pronounce that word. So enemies near your healing beams target take 54 damage a second. So it's almost like Burning Rage, I believe is what it's called. Yeah, right here. Burning Rage. Deal 56 damage per second to nearby enemies. So it's slightly weaker in comparison. But that's because, you know, Burning Rage is at level 13. This talent's at level 7. So I like that. It's like a portable Burning Rage. It works on whatever character you put it on. I like, you know, Illidan is a phenomenal target for that ability. The Butcher, Johanna, really any tank. It's just a really good ability to pick up. There are some other level 7 talents sometimes I pick up, but in this case, since we had a Johanna, I think it was a really good pickup. And a Monk and a Thrall. I just couldn't think of a reason why not to take it. At level 10, as I mentioned, we took Stim Drone rather than the MedVac because we had a lot of auto attack damage. We had Rainer, which I don't think I used Stim Drone on at all. I probably should have because I don't think Thrall was making much use of it. But we had Rainer, we had the Monk, and we had Thrall. So I went with Stim Drone. At level 13, I went with Couples Therapy. This is further increasing my survivability along with trauma trigger and advanced block, because this is going to self-heal. The medic cannot use her Q on herself, so couples therapy, while channeling your healing beam, you are healed for 25% of the healing amount at the cost of an additional 4 mana per second. I typically go with this. There's another talent that I like at this level, and it depends kind of if there's a healer sticking with me and keeping me alive and healing me, then I won't pick this up and I'll go with the other one. And I'll talk about that after this game finishes up. At level 16, I took Inoculation. This is the talent I mentioned earlier that increases Safeguard's initial damage reduction to 50% for the first 1.5 seconds. That's huge. If you're going against a team with a ton of burst damage, or someone's getting focused down by like 3+ characters, you pop this on them, you're reducing all damage by 50% for a second. That's huge. And that has, as you saw earlier, it saved the monk's life. And it has saved countless lives, I think, since I've started playing the medic. And at level 20, we took the upgrade to our passive. Now her passive, basically when you don't take damage for so long, it's much like Muradin's, except probably not as strong. If you don't take damage for so long, you begin to self-heal. Well, this level 20 upgrade makes it so that not only do you begin to self-heal, but you also gain a shield that absorbs 234 damage, stacking up to 5 times. So that's over 1,000 damage right there. It's like 1,100, 1,200 damage. I'm not going to do the math right now, but it's a ton of damage. And then you also restore 8 mana a second. And that's kind of where I mentioned earlier I was being much more mana efficient in the end game. That's where that mana efficiency came from. You really don't have any mana efficiency talents at all on the medic until level 20. So I almost always pick that talent at level 20. I did go with a different talent once. I think I went with Storm Shield once, and I regretted it. I love that level 20 talent, that upgrade to your trait. It is a really good ability. I definitely recommend it with almost any build you go with. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to finish off this fort here. Let's this core rather. The enemy team doing what they can, but it's just not going to be enough. So let's take a look at stats. We had 19 takedowns, 1 death. But the important number to look at is 184,000 heals. The monk had 73,000 heals, and the enemy medic only had 112,000 heals. And we were even the same level. We were both level 23. She only died 3 times, so it wasn't like she was off the battlefield that much more than I was. She was off probably an extra 2 minutes or so. But I was able to out-heal her by 72,000 heals. It's a huge amount of healing. It's huge. So let's go ahead. Let's exit this replay, and I will talk about some other potential abilities you can pick up with the medic. And so here's our talent tree. As I said, level 1, I just about always take Trauma Trigger. Level 4, I just about always take the Advanced Block. Bio Shield might not be too bad either. If your target is at full health, they gain a shield that absorbs 20 damage, stacking up to 5 times. So that's 100 hit point shield at level 4. But the thing I found with the medic is that I don't feel like my targets are very often above 100 life, or I mean 100% life. Obviously not above 100% life. They're not very often at 100% life. I'm always switching targets. I'm switching the targets that don't have much life and trying to get them back up, and then I switch to another. So in team fights, I don't feel like this is going to be very beneficial, whereas Advanced Block is going to help keep you alive. And, you know, in the past I've preached about mana efficiency on healers and how it's very important for you to have a ton of mana or a ton of mana regen, because if you run out of mana, your team's going to die. While in the medic, you're forced to have kind of low mana in the early game. So what you need to focus on is survivability, because with the medic, rather than mana efficiency, it's all about your survivability. If you're taken out, if you're killed, then your team's going to kind of fall to pieces. So in my opinion, Advanced Block is probably the best talent to take at level 4. In my opinion, my play style, I just really like it. Bioshield could be good. I can see how that could be beneficial, primarily if you're laning with another individual, you know, in the early game, just granting them extra life while you're laning. I can see how that could be decent, but Advanced Block I just feel like is better in the long term. At level 7, I do kind of switch up talents a little bit here, mostly between Mule and the Healing Beam Damage Aura. I'm trying to avoid saying that name because I know I'm going to mess it up like every time. So I really, really like Mule. I really do, especially on the medic. There are times where depending on the team comp, there have been times where we have nothing but ranged DPS, so there's really no reason for me to pick this up. Like, there are some comps in Quick Match, I haven't even had a tank, and we're 100% ranged. So the Mule is going to help to offset some of the damage, some of the pushes the enemy team kind of do throughout the match. And sometimes when they get objectives or boss camps or what have you, and they do X amount of damage to your forts or your structures, but they don't finish off the structures. I've had it where a fort is at like 10% life or lower, and I call down a couple mules, and now it's back up to 100% with full ammunition. That's taking away a lot of work that the enemy team did. So I really, really like Mule a lot. Again, it kind of depends on the team comp and what have you, but those are the two talents I typically go with at level 7. We talked about level 10 already. We're going to skip over that. Level 13 is another one where you can switch up. Almost any of these abilities are just very, very good. I talked about couples therapy. This is the self-healing ability that pairs well for survivability from level 1 and 4. Intensive care, when healing beam is on a single target for over 3 seconds, its healing amount increases by 25% and mana cost increased by 4%. Or, sorry, not 4%, just 4 rather. I really like that ability sometimes if I'm on a duo support comp and the other support is doing a good job of healing me. I don't feel like I need this one, so I'll go with this to help increase healing on single targets. This is especially good if you have like an Illidan that's going really deep, or obviously keeping tanks alive. Very, very good talent. Preventative care, basic attacks against your healing beams target. Reduce the attacker's attack speed by 25% for 2.5 seconds. Pretty solid ability. That's basically like imposing presence, if I remember right. Very solid ability. I myself haven't really picked it up and tested it with it much. Usually these are the two I go with. But then for even more survivability, you could go with Spell Shield. Upon taking ability damage, reduce that damage and further ability damage by 50% for 3 seconds. So if you're on a team going up against like a KT and a Nova and a Jaina, just a ton of ability damage, like Nova's Snipe is kind of primarily what I'm talking about there. This could help reduce that damage and help protect you a little bit. Whether or not like that could potentially be better than couples therapy, because couples therapy takes time for you to heal up, whereas Spell Shield is going to immediately reduce damage by 50%. So if there's a lot of burst, like a Nova just coming out and sniping you a lot, Spell Shield's probably the better talent here, just to reduce that damage right away and help you stay alive. Again, with the medic, rather than mana efficiency, it's all about survivability, and Spell Shield could potentially be really good. I haven't done much testing with it. I've only picked it a couple times. But yeah, I would say probably Intensive Care, Couples Therapy, or Spell Shield, depending on what composition you're going against and how often they're focusing you down, and whether or not they're using both basic attacks to try to focus you down or abilities to focus you down. At level 16, I almost always go with Inoculation. Just so much mitigation right away. Really, since you don't have much burst healing on the medic, it's just a phenomenal way to try to, someone's in low life and they're being focused, you pop this, keep them alive, and then use your heal over time to bring them back up. Really, really beneficial talent. Sometimes I go with Shield Sequencer, Shield Sequencer, there we go. I'm learning words today, guys. Feel pretty proud. Anyways, after casting Safeguard, you can cast it a second time within 3 seconds at no cost. A little bit of mana efficiency there, and a little bit of I guess team mitigation a little bit, because you can help mitigate 2 targets rather than just 1. But I don't know, Inoculation's just too good to pass up on, in my opinion. And then at level 20, like I said, I went with Storm Shield once, but I think that the upgrade to your trait is just too good. I think you almost always have to take that. I don't really see much of a point in Medbay, in my opinion. I mean, it's a decent heal, maybe. Heals them for 100 health per second. And you can sit in the medvac for 10 seconds before it flies, and then it takes 4 seconds to travel. I would assume it heals you while it's traveling, so that's like 14 seconds worth of healing, so that's 1400 health it's going to heal. And that's a good way, like if you're all kind of low after a team fight and you just want a team fight and you want to go after boss, you can hop in, the MedVac and heal everyone up to 100% to go steal a boss or something, or to go push a core. But I really think that this upgrade to your trait is just too good to pass up on, considering the fact, again, I always preach mana efficiency, and the medic doesn't have much in the way of mana efficiency. So this being your only ability to help increase your mana efficiency, I really, really love it. In addition, it's also increasing your survivability by giving you that shield. So again, I mean, it's addressing the need to make the medic survivable, and it's addressing the need to make the medic more mana efficient. So probably the best talent. It is my favorite talent on the medic. I always take that. So anyways, that is the end of that video. Finally, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, I will do a live video, a live gameplay commentary with the medic later on. I just wanted to show you a decent video to start out without having to do X amount of matches to find a good group. I've got a lot of schoolwork to do, so I just figured that doing a replay would be a better use of my time. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.